Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. We have Prabhupada quote. Krishna's mercy is always there. It is your misuse of free will. You are given the opportunity, that is fortune, but you do not accept the fortune, that is your misfortune. Perth, May 10, 1975. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, we have Sadhak Seva announcement text. Sadhak Seva means practical seva opportunities to help each other in different situations like job search, business referral, house search, final loan officers, taxes help, legal help, health-related help, matrimony-related, any other types of help. Sadhak Seva means we should not only help motivating others for japa, but also help in other practical ways. Everyone who is a member of Japa conference must also help everyone else in a more practical sense. Presently, please share your name and number to our Everyday Chant Harinam Japa WhatsApp group or email to everydaychant@gmail.com. Thanks. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Namah Sarvevya Sushvagatam Bhaktaganam Kripya Taunam Vasanagre Nama Varitu.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, हम सुरेंद्र भंडारी मैरीलैंड बसामी। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा। गुरु महाराज की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय। धन्यवाद प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna, Sumati Mataji and all the assembled devotees. Dandavat Pranam, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Mama Nama Shamarasika Devidasi, Ham Germantown Nagare Vasami.
हरे कृष्णा। गुरु महाराज की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय। धन्यवाद माता जी। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna, Sumati Mataji, Mama Naam Haladar Das. I'm Srimad Nagare Vasami, Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. My humble obeisance is all the devotees on a phone call. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा। गुरु महाराज की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय। धन्यवाद प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा। मम नाम विकास कुलकर्णी, हम टोरंटो नगरे वसामी। गुरु महाराज की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। My humble obeisances to all the devotees on the phone call. हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा। गुरु महाराज की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय। धन्यवाद प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा। गॉड माता जी।
हरे कृष्णा। मैं फ्रेनी जानी हूँ फ्रॉम मैरीलैंड एंड आई एम रियली ऑनर्ड टू बी हियर। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग माता जी। गुरु महाराज की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय। धन्यवाद माता जी। हरे कृष्णा। Hare Krishna. Would anybody else like to announce their names?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Let us welcome Pranijani Mataji. She's joining, but she announced today first time, so in our traditional way, but this time chanting Hari Bol.
हरि बोल,
Hari Bol.
हरि बोल।
हरि बोल,
Hari Bol.
हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna, Prani Mataji. Yeah, thank you for joining every day, every weekend. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. Would anybody else like to announce their names?
Hare Krishna, Dharmat Pranam, Mataji and Prabhuji. This is Hardik here from Canada, Edmonton.
Hare Krishna. Thank you Prabhuji for joining. Guru Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Dhanyavad Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Would anybody else like to announce their names?
Krishna.
Hare
Hardik
Krishna.
Prabhu, are you joining us for the first time?
Yeah, Prabhuji, he joined in weekdays, but yeah, for Bhagavad Gita class, he's joining first time.
Okay.
Let us welcome him also. Thank you for noticing.
Hare Krishna.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari
Bol.
Thank you, Adik Prabhu, joining on Sunday also. Hare Krishna. He is from Canada, Prabhuji.
Yes,
And Vikas
Vinod.
is also from Canada. The today's speaker, Vikas Prabhu, is also from Canada.
Yes, Vinod Sharma Prabhu. He gave me this contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Would anybody else like to announce their names? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Today we are reading chapter 18, the conclusion, the perfection of renunciation, text number 65. Hare Krishna, Vikas Prabhuji, please take over the call now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining this call. So before we begin the call, I would ask one of the devotees to chant the Mangalacharan prayers. Srimati Mataji, do you want to do the honors, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Om Omakyanativanandasya Gyananjanashlakya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Maybe we'll continue with that. तब तक कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावन श्री कृष्ण
You want me to do the Mangalacharan?
Oh, yes, Prabhuji.
Maybe I'll start, Prabhu. It's okay.
Okay.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति सोपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुत्पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण्डगुणाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगण्डलिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत्सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। हरि ओम। Aladardas Prabhu, please guide us through the recitation of verse 65. Today we will try to cover verse 65. And since this is a significant verse, we will only do today's verse and then continue with 66 next time. So, Prabhuji, please guide us.
Dhanyavad Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So it's Bhagavad Gita 18.65, page number 704 on English Bhagavad Gita. So the wordings are Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. And it's a very beautiful verse. You can sing very nicely. Manmanabhav madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Please try it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sumati is reading. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame vyashyasi satyam te patijane priyosi me. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll go. मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे. हरे कृष्ण.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी. मन्मना मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽस्मि मे. हरे कृष्ण.
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम मन्मना भव भक्तो मध्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे.
Very well. Thank you, Mataji. Any other devotee who would like to try? Please do this as a service to yourself and to Lord Krishna.
I like to go, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
मन्मना भव मद भक्तो मध्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वेश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रति जने प्रियोऽसि मे.
Good. Very nice.
Very nice, Prabhu.
I will try, Prabhuji.
Go ahead,
Uh,
Mataji.
मन्मना मद्भक्तो मदयाजी मम नमस्कुरु मम अवियासी सत्यम ते प्रद्यजानी प्रियोऽसि मे.
Nice try. Nice. Good.
Very nice, Mataji. Very melodious voice too.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else? Okay. So we will do the word for word synonyms. Then we will do the translation of the words. There are only 2 paragraphs in the purport. So maybe a couple of devotees can read the first paragraph and divide the second paragraph again similarly. So, Das Prabhu, if you want to do the word for word synonyms and the translation of the words, then the other 4 devotees can read the purports.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The synonym word by word. Matmana. So thinking of me. Bhava. Just become. Mad Bhaktaha. My devotee. Madhyaji. My worshipper. Mam. Unto me. Namaskuru. Offer your obeisances. Mam. Unto me. Eva. Certainly. Ishyasi. You will come. Satyam. Truly. Te. To you. Pratijane, I promise. Priyaha, dear. Asi, you are. Me, to me. Translation by Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Always think of me. Become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus, you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Hare Krishna. You want me to read 2 times, right?
No, it's okay, Prabhu. Maybe we'll move to the reading of the purport. So 2 devotees can take reading of the first paragraph and another 2 devotees can read the second paragraph.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I read the first paragraph?
Yes, Mataji, please. Because there are other devotees, maybe you can stop midway.
Oh yes, Prabhuji. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srimad is reading. Purport by Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna and always think of him and act for him. One should not become an official meditator. Life should be so molded that one will always have the chance to think of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, would anybody else like to read?
Can I go, Prabhu? Mataji?
Sure, go ahead, Prabhu.
One should always act in such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. He should arrange his life in such a way that throughout the 24 hours he cannot but think of Krishna. And the Lord's promise is that anyone who is in such pure Krishna consciousness will certainly return to abode of Krishna, where he will be engaged in the association of Krishna face to face. If anybody else wants to do it, they can.
Hare Krishna. I'll go ahead with the next one. This most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he is the dear friend of Krishna. Everyone who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend to Krishna and obtain the same perfection as Arjuna. Hare Krishna.
Other devotees, if you want to read, please go ahead with the second paragraph.
This is Ipsita from Orlando. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Can I read?
Krishna.
Can I
Sure,
read?
go ahead, Mataji.
These words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna, the very form with two hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with a beautiful face and peacock feathers in his hair. Anyone else wants to read?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. There are descriptions of Krishna found in the Brahma Samhita and other literatures. One should fix his mind on this original form of Godhead, Krishna. One should not even divert his attentions to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi forms as Vishnu, Narayana, Rama, Varaha, etc. But a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. Anybody wants to read? Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees, for the chanting of the words and the reading of the purport. So we will begin our discussions. Let's say a small prayer. Hare Krishna. So, first of all, when I read this shloka, I find it quite inspiring because, yes, the verse is being talked about and discussed between Arjun and between Krishna, but the verse is for all of us, and the entire Bhagavad Gita is for all of us. And this verse is inspiring because it is for everyone who is not yet a Shuddha Bhakta. And it is for all of us who are in sadhana bhakti to become a Shuddha Bhakta. Because there is a promise. Krishna says, Manmana Bhava, right? Become. So you are not there, but become. Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru. And the promise is, if you can do all of that, then Mame Veshyasi, you will attain me. So that is the promise for those of us who are not yet there. And it is something that is achievable. The Lord is not giving something to us that is not achievable. Now, the four actions are there and the outcome in the verse is there as a promise from the Lord. Now, what does Manmana Bhava mean? Right? Last time we had stopped as to why Krishna is talking about and invoking the mind, not the sense, not the intelligence, but the mind. And then let us understand what Manmana Bhava here means. And Prabhupada says, concentrate on Krishna's Shyam Sundar form. So the reason Prabhupada is emphasizing here to concentrate on the Shyam Sundar form of Krishna is because in Srimad Bhagvatam it says, uh, and in multiple other scriptures it is stated that Krishna is the original flame from whom everything else has come. So if you have one candle and then you light another 100 candles, so every other avatar is like the other candle that is lit from the original candle, which is Krishna. He is the Ishvara Paramaha Krishna. He is the origin of everything. So therefore, those devotees who have not yet found affinity with any particular form should actually specifically then, concentrate on Krishna's Shyam Sundar form. So that is the purport here. Without becoming Manmana, we cannot truly realize the rest of the things that Krishna is asking us to do. If we are not thinking of Krishna, we cannot become Mad Bhakta, we cannot Mat Yaji, you cannot offer worship to him, you cannot, pay your homage to Lord Krishna. So that is why the verse actually begins with Manmana. But in preparation for this particular discussion, I was actually listening to what Srila Prabhupada has spoken about this specific verse. So Srila Prabhupada used to take lots and lots of, talks. He would give, he would go out on morning walks. He will give lectures there. He would give lectures in the congregation. He would give lectures in big assembly halls. He used to, there is, if you think about it in the recent memory, Prabhupada was one who was Manmana, completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness. His entire day was like that. He used to sleep perhaps 2.5 hours every day. And then his day would begin with writing. Then he would do his chanting. Then he would do the daily kriyas. Then again, he's taking classes. He's taking his walk. On his walk, he's giving discourses. Throughout the day, he's instructing and looking at the propagation of Krishna consciousness. He's also writing. He's giving interviews. He's building temples. He's giving instructions on how to acquire land, how to manage the affairs of the temple. He's giving instructions, even including how to cook prasadam, how to take care of deities. He was even instructing the lady devotees who were coming into the fold as to how to wear the sari and how to, be a Vaishnavi. So all of this he's doing as a service to Krishna. He is the best example when we think of this verse and how to emulate and what to do and how to structure the day. As he says, one should actually structure the day such that one is always thinking of Krishna. So let's first give some time and thought to uh, the example that Prabhupada has set in front of us as we think about this verse. So speaking of the talk that Prabhupada gave on this verse, and this is a talk he gave in New York on Feb 19, 1966. So Prabhupada speaks of, and I'm not as eloquent as Prabhupada, but he speaks of the first thing. He says there are, in my words, and I'm, presenting what Prabhupada has said, there are two traps. So the first trap is the bodily designation. So if we think of ourselves, anytime anybody says that, who are you? If the first thought that comes to our mind is, I'm a man or a woman, if I'm, adult, if I'm a child, I'm an old person, I'm Indian, Canadian, American, I am whatever language I have, I am of whatever religion I have. Uh, if the thought comes that I am so much wealthy, If the thought comes that I, do this kind of work, no matter what that thought is, then we are fallen into the bodily trap. That is the first trap, because Krishna, actually, the very first thing he tells Arjuna is, Ashochan Anvashocastam, Pragyavadanscha Bhashase. So he's saying you are not the body. Why are you lamenting for this body? That's the first thing he says uh, in Bhagavad Gita when he starts instructing. So he's spoken a couple of verses before, but after Arjun Maharaj has accepted Krishna as his guru, then Krishna is speaking about this, and the very first thing he says is basically you are thinking like a body and entrapped in that body and being completely dominated by that bodily thinking, which is what we refer to as material, because this body is nothing else but matter that has accumulated around us. And when I speak of body, I'm speaking of both the gross body, which is the physical body made of bones, muscles, blood, etc. And then there is a subtle body inside us, which is made of our false ego, our intelligence, and the mind. And then the two bodies are joined together through the energy layer. So, in the words of Veda, you have the Annamaya Kosh, the Pranmaya Kosh, the Manomaya Kosh, the Gyanmaya Kosh, and Vigyanmaya Kosh. And afterwards, there is the Anandmaya Kosh. You are at the soul level, you are at the Brahma Bhuta level. So, the point is, when we generally, and I used to, because, and again, I'm perhaps the most fallen amongst all of us, whenever I read Bhagavad Gita in my early days, I used to think, even if I begin thinking that the instruction is for me, somehow it becomes a dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna, and it is not something for me. But this is all for us. It is all about us. So we may be carried away when we are doing sadhana bhakti, we are doing prayers to the Lord, we are chanting for the Lord, we are cooking for the Lord. We may think, oh, I have become manmana. No, the test of becoming manmana is if the water in the glass is dirty, it cannot be clean water. So similarly, the test is if at any time you have this thought, anytime somebody asks a question, anytime something happens and you respond with this kind of thinking of bodily designation of name, family, community, engagement, employment, affinities, etc., then you are not truly manmana. And this verse is for us, and the purport of the verse is for us. We need to come out of this first trap, which is the bodily trap. And just think of it. Uh, all of these bodily designations, and this is just my additional thought on this, is basically, uh, dividing, fragmenting, and conflicting all of us. The moment a person thinks they are a man or a woman, you're basically distinguishing between this and that. Man, woman, uh, say American, non-American, whatever that is. And the more we think like that, the more we divide like that, there is going to be conflict, because all of these circles which have different centers around them will have conflicting touch points. And every time there is a conflicting touch point, there is going to be discord and there will not be peace in this world. So that is another way for us to look at. And Krishna has said in chapter 2, I think between verses 41 to 45, he says that the moment you are looking externally, you are going to have a fragmented mind. If you look inside, then you have one pointed determination, one pointed focus. So even when we should think of peace in the world, but to bring peace to ourselves, we have to forcefully start to negate this thinking of looking outside and looking inside. That is one way to gain peace for ourselves. And the moment we become peaceful, we should be able to generate that peace, resonate that peace for everybody else. So coming out of that first trap of bodily thinking is a huge trap for this world. That is why Krishna then says in uh, verses 54, 55 that this is a confidential knowledge. How many people around us actually go around, think around like that? So it is confidential. You tell it to somebody, they may not even understand it. They don't even want to understand it. They will give you 100 different arguments as to why this is not true. So that is why Shastra say it is confidential and it should be given to those who are more open to receiving it, who have some ability to understand and accept it. So that was trap one. Now, what is the second trap? Let's say the soul has progressed from thinking that it is a body to now realizing that they are the soul. So they are at the Brahma Bhuta stage. This is at verses 54 and 55 of Bhagavad Gita. So if they are at the Brahma Bhuta stage, there is a second trap that comes in. And what is this trap? There is a trap of basically voidism, or generally what is understood through the Buddhist philosophy, that there is nirvana, everything becomes zero. Once you are out of this matter, you are just, basically zero. There is nothing else after this. You merge into nothingness, sort of. And then there is impersonalism. So another thought and philosophy is once you are out of this bodily designation, you are out of this material universe, then the soul merges into the Brahma Jyoti. So that is the Advait philosophy, that everything becomes one. And this is also a trap. The reason it is a trap is just in Prabhupada's words, not mine. And he quotes verse 61 from Bhagavad Gita, where it is said that this is now the more confidential knowledge. So, what is that more confidential knowledge? He says, you are sitting as if in an instrument, and I am the one who's driving that instrument, sitting in your heart. So, if this is like we are a passenger, he is the driver of the car, and he's provided us the car. So, can you imagine that just because you are now outside the car, you have become zero, or you have become one with the universe, that you've just suddenly become one with the energy around you, or one with the light around you, that you lose your individuality? So, this is a very simple example to understand that the soul, which is so active in the material universe, is not going to become inactive or annihilate itself as soon as it becomes and realizes that it is the soul. Actually, as the soul, it has more things to do. So, that is where it now becomes the most confidential. What is that activity that the soul must engage in? That is the most confidential part, and that's why we are at this verse where Krishna is saying, now that you've become, or you've realized, or you have the potential to realize that you are a soul, think of me. Because the soul shouldn't think of the world. The soul should think of the super soul. The soul should think of Godhead. Because in that sense, the soul is permanent. Everything around us is basically atoms and molecules that are coming and joining together, changing shape, form, size, characteristics, etc. And it is interaction of those atoms and molecules with other atoms and molecules. It is the energy is constant, but it also keeps changing shape and form. So the material energy is eternal, but the way it appears to us is temporary. Its influence is temporary. Its interactions with us is temporary. Its outcomes when we interact with it are temporary. at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day of Brahma, it again goes back to being absolute matter with no shape, form, name, characteristics, etc. And then again, it comes back as a manifested universe. But the soul is also eternal. So the eternal soul does not find peace when it is interacting with this changing material energy. It finds peace only when it is interacting, it is doing things with somebody else who's superior and somebody else who's also eternal, which is the Godhead. And that's why Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru. So that is the most confidential part of knowledge. And just see, this is where I am actually amazed, because another thought that came into my mind when I was reading to Prabhupada is the beauty, the simplicity of Krishna when he's speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So he actually right away at the very initiation of Bhagavad Gita, at the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, he destroyed the first trap by saying, you are not the body, you are the soul. And in the very second verse, he says that Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam ne me janadipa na chaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayam atah param. He says, me, you, and all these kings who are around us, they have always been in the past. They are here in front of us, and they will always remain individual because we are all eternal souls. So, right there, Krishna is destroying the second trap of voidism or impersonalism thought, because he's saying we all, we as in I as my individual soul, you as your individual soul, have been in the past, are there, and will continue to remain individual souls because we are eternal individual souls. And Krishna says so in chapter 2, verse 12. So this is again, every time you read Bhagavad Gita, you gain a little bit of knowledge. Every time you listen to acharyas and more elevated, more advanced devotees, you gain more knowledge. And it is only because of this mercy that comes from outside to us that we actually progress in our sadhana bhakti, and that is the hope. Uh, it is never about us. We are nothing. It's in another class I had heard that, it's like a diamond has been given to you in exchange for 1 cent. You may think you purchased a diamond at 1 cent, but whatever we have done to get this diamond of bhakti, to be in this congregation, to be in this parampara that has started from Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya, to be part of this is like a diamond that has been given to us. And what is our worth? What could we give to get this diamond? Nothing. It is just absolute mercy that has come to us. So anyway, I was digressing there. So I'm coming back to this. Another way to look at is, so the first trap and the second trap. How do you come out of this trap? So karma, jnana, dhyan, these are the ways you could come out of the first two traps. But you will stop there. Bhakti is the one method that actually takes you across both the traps. It's not progressive. So in Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, you will first realize and come out of the first trap that you are the soul. And in the second trap, you may get entangled, but you can come out of that again through, Mad Bhakti Labhate Param. So those souls who take to Bhakti will move further. But the beauty of Bhakti Yoga is such that you don't have to focus on whether your body or your mind, your body or your soul, and you don't have to focus on whether the soul remains or does not remain, because none of this is important. The only thing that is important is we are the servers and we are serving our the Godhead. And therefore, the moment we completely engage ourselves into that service, you're already, these traps don't matter. The moment you're in touch with the fire, you are fire itself. So that is the beauty of Bhakti Yoga. And here Krishna is saying, Mad Bhakta, become my devotee. So he's saying, take the most direct, the bestest of methods to come to me, because then you don't get into any such distractions. So that is why this is the most confidential knowledge. And what are those activities of the soul? Stop thinking of other things, think of me, but not as a forced duty. So, manmana bhava. But Prabhupada gives another example here, that every employee is in some sense manmana, or is thinking of their bosses or the employer. But it is out of fear, it is out of obligation, it is perhaps out of respect. But Krishna is saying, no, don't become manmana in that manner. Become manmana through love, through bhakti. Then he says, when you are in bhakti, bhakti is what? It is devotion plus service. So it is not to become an idle meditator. Prabhupada says so in the purport itself. You need to engage. So there is one way to be Krishna's devotee by just thinking of Krishna, but there is a better way to be Krishna's devotee, where you are thinking of Krishna, you are his devotee, but you are serving him. And serving him how? Through love and through respect, by bowing down to him, and everything that is Krishna. So this is the activity for that ever active soul. Once it has realized that it is not the matter, it is the soul. So there is, if you go deeper, and I'm going a little deeper here in this conversation, if you think about Srimad Bhagvatam, there is a verse, and in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 5, it says, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. Ya prayati samadbhavam yati na nastyatra samshaya. What that verse actually means is, if you just think of me at the end of your life, this bodily life, then after leaving this body, you will come to me. So right at Manmana, we can actually attain salvation. We can come out of this world. We can get one of the 5 liberations. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is more elaborate on this, because it says it doesn't matter which way. Etavan Sankhya Yoga Abhyam. So either through empirical thinking, through yogic endeavors, or Swadharma Parinishthaya, or through following your Varnashram duties, your regulated duties. Janma Labha Para Pumsam. So the ultimate gain that you could ever get through all of these activities is Ante Narayana Smriti. So we are out of this world just by thinking of him. And Krishna is advising us to progress further. And that is the true meaning behind this verse. Because Krishna, when he's speaking to Arjuna, this verse 65 of chapter 18, he's already seen, Arjuna's already at the level when he's understood who he is. He's completely understood and accepted who the Lord is. And he has already said, in I think chapter 10, verse 14, he says, I accept whatever you are saying as completely true, and I'll do what you tell me. Right there in chapter 10, he said that. So Krishna is now, in a way, encouraging him to go beyond, not just to think about, oh, the war is over and that I'll get liberation out of it, but to go beyond as a devotee. And this is why Prabhupada and all the acharyas say, only a devotee can understand this. Now, to summarize, the first thing is reduce with a goal to completely stop our attachment to external things. So that is coming out of the first trap. I'm summarizing our discussions here, and I may take another 5-10 minutes. But as I am summarizing, I want to give you guys some time to think about, because I'm going to ask you a question. What is it that each one of us will do to become more manmana? Because this is not supposed to be just a discussion. It is not supposed to be just reading. It is internalizing. It is all about internalizing and making that small effort to move a little further in our bhakti. So please think about in the next 10-15 minutes as to what it is that you could do in your daily life that will make you a little bit more advanced from where you are. We all are at different positions. We all have different levels of consciousness, and how to enhance that consciousness is what we will try to understand. And it doesn't have to be earth shattering. It could be small things. What can you change in your daily routine to become more manmana? So that's the point of conversation from all of us, and we all can learn small things. There are no such things as only big things make big changes. Small things can make big changes, and that is quite important. So we want to hear from everybody. So now the question is, okay, how to become manmana? Because that is what is not discussed, not at least in this verse. So how do you become manmana? So when I was reflecting on it, I thought of verses 8 to 12 of chapter 12. That is where Krishna has already said how to come towards him, how to progress towards him, what is the path to achieve him. And there, between those 5 verses, Krishna says, and I am now going in a descending order. He says, fix your mind. So again, manmana is the first one. But if you cannot fix your mind, then follow regulative principles. So what basically that means is practice sadhana bhakti. If you cannot fix your mind in sadhana bhakti, then just work for Krishna. Engage in karma yoga. Like whatever you are doing, you offer that, you link that to Lord Krishna. Give up fruits of activity. So if you cannot think of Krishna and work for Krishna, then give up the fruits of activity, which is nishkam karma. So you are not necessarily linking it to Krishna, but you are at least not enjoying the fruits of activity. And if you cannot do any of that, then engage in meditation. And if you cannot undertake meditation, then engage in at least, pursuit of spiritual knowledge, Jnana Yoga. So these are the steps. So Jnana Yoga, from there to Nishkam Karma, to Karma Yoga, to then Sadhana Bhakti, to then Bhav Bhakti or Raganuga Bhakti, where your mind and intelligence is engaged in Krishna. So this is the ladder all the way to achieving Krishna. But how do you climb this ladder? How do you progressively go up to having the mind completely engaged? So this is where when I contemplated a bit more, I was thinking of in chapter 9 itself, Krishna has given us the steps to get to this and climbing this ladder all the way up to becoming totally Krishna consciousness. It starts with verse 26 of chapter 9, where Krishna is saying, just offer me one flower, a little bit of water, one fruit, and that is what I'll accept. If you offer that to me with devotion, I'll accept it. So now that is, anybody can do it. It is very easily done. It is, and Lord has promised, I'll accept it. If you do it with devotion, I'll accept it. So while that may be the beginning for all of us, where do we need to go from there? Verse 27. after doing a little bit of service, what Krishna is saying is, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi konte tat kurushvam madarpana. So anything you do, anything you give in charity, any endeavor you have, any austerities you perform, just offer all of that to me. So that is one step higher to climbing. So we already between chapter 12 verses 8 to 12, we got about 5 or 6 steps. Then from that step, how to keep progressing further and become steadfast in it is given in, according to me, chapter 9, verse 26 and verse 27. You could also take it a little further. So now in chapter 17, Krishna said that all acts of charity, sacrifices, and austerity need to be performed because every other act actually is not a meaningful act. So what we should actually, even when we are engaged in matter, we should do is either charity, sacrifice, or austerity. It's not meant for our enjoyment. Therefore, the other acts don't come into this play. So they also need to be performed by thinking of Krishna either before, during, or after, and with the mindset of Om Tat Sat, that everything has come from him, everything is enabled by him, everything ends up in him. And with that mentality, every time we perform sacrifice, what do we chant when we are done with the offering? We say, Idam Namama. This was never mine. So even though I'm offering this sacrifice and I'm offering this into the yajna, Idam Namama, this is not mine. So with that thinking, so this is another way to elevate our consciousness. Now, Prabhupada said, plan your day around this. So these are specific acts, 926, 927, what you do, whether charity, sacrifice, penance, is individual acts that we could offer, think of Krishna and offer them to Krishna. But Prabhupada says, go further. He's saying, plan your day around this. And then the example that comes to my mind is, of Ambarish Maharaj in 9th canto, chapter 4, for those devotees who want to read, verses 18 to 20, where the entire life of Ambarish Maharaj was structured around Krishna consciousness. So, Savai Mana Krishna Padar Vindayo, Vachansi Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane. So he would engage his tongue in chanting the glories of the Lord. He will engage his hands in serving the Lord, in cleaning the temple of the Lord. He is engaging his ears in listening to the glories of the Lord. So all of that, if you go through it, there are so many ways you could engage. Now, is it possible to go further than this? So that's where I heard another lecture, and then it was like, this just doesn't end. The way we understand, interpret, and internalize Bhagavad Gita it's an infinity. It keeps opening up. It keeps opening more and more things. So just to wrap up this conversation, another way you could take it to its limit is, we know that we have these 9 ways of bhakti, from Shravanam, Kirtanam to Atmanivedanam. And for each of these 9 ways of engaging in bhakti, there is an acharya of that bhakti. There is the utmost example of somebody who's performed that kind of bhakti to the Lord. So what we can do is, when we are doing Shravanam, the acharya of Shravanam is Parikshit Maharaj. When he gave up everything and he was wrapped in attention to what Shukdev Goswami was saying on the banks of Ganga in the last 7 days of Parikshit Maharaj's life. So we need to start to become like Parikshit Maharaj when we are doing Shravanam. Kirtanam, like Shukdev Goswami or like Narad Maharaj. Smaranam, think of Smaranam when we think of Krishna, like Prahlad Maharaj, where in any type of, so many calamities were coming in his life, so many dangers were there to his very existence in the bodily form, and yet he was constantly thinking of Krishna. So, how can we elevate our bhakti when we are chanting? How can we elevate our chanting? When we are in Sankirtan and listening, how can we elevate our listening? When we are thinking, how can we elevate our thinking? Just try to think of these acharyas of these different types of bhaktis and how to bring their mood into our service. Because devotional service is not about us. One definition that I got from another lecture is devotional service is to elevate ourselves to a level where we are able to serve Krishna with the love with which he is actually serving us and he is taking care of us. Did you get that? That devotional service is to develop that kind of love in our hearts for the Lord, which he has for us. Then we are able to actually reciprocate with him. Otherwise, there is no way we can reciprocate with him. Then it is only his mercy that he allows us to come into the temple, allows us to listen about him, allows us to chant his glories, invests his energy into the glories of chanting, and therefore allows us to create connection with him, etc. But the goal of bhakti is to develop that kind of love for him. And that can be attained by following the path of those who have already attained it, right? And that's why try to have the mood of those acharyas of those 9 bhaktis to gain manmana. And then as we progress as sadhana bhaktas, as sadhakas, as someone who's engaged in this as a regulated duty, it's not like we like, it's like we have to do it. It's regulation, therefore I have to do it. That is generally where we are. If we really loved it, we would not stop at 16. We would go to 32 or 64 rounds of chanting. We are not there. We see this as regulated. I'm done with what I was supposed to do kind of thinking is there at this time. So as we progress in our bhakti, our consciousness will start to evolve. We'll actually start to see in our own life, and I don't want to go into the elaboration of it, but we know that there are 3 levels of bhaktas. So Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari or Mahabhagavad. So we'll see some characteristics of from the lowest level. We can see some middle level or intermediate state devotees characteristics come into our lives. Sometimes we may even see and get glimpses of the last state. And not only that, we will also start to realize now what Krishna said in chapter 9, verse 2. He has already said it is Raj Vidya, it is the king of knowledge, Raj Guhyam, it is the most confidential knowledge. Pavitram idam uttamam, pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam, susukham kartum avyayam. At that stage, we will truly realize what Krishna means by saying susukham. It is actually very pleasurable. It is joyfully performed. So that regulated bhakti that we are doing, that forced chanting of rounds that we are doing will actually become pleasing, and we will perform it joyfully. We will do more and more of it. And pratyakshaavagamam, he's saying you can directly perceive it when you get engaged thus. So this was the way to become manmana. Once you become manmana, then your bhakti will flourish. From bhakti, you will be able to do more and more intimate service to the Lord, and you will remain in service of the Lord. So here is where I will stop the conversations for today's discussion, and I'll be happy to hear people, everybody's questions and comments. And while I would love to hear from everybody, those of you who want to speak about how they intend to become more and more manmana, how they can make that one small change in their daily routine to become more Krishna conscious, I think that would be quite useful for all of us to listen to. So over to you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I like you mentioned earlier, Prabhuji. It is I feel like I'm still caught in, I'm a female, I'm a lady. Being still caught in the body, and seeing everything through those lenses. Like I can do this or I cannot do this. So at that point, and after listening to today's discussion, I feel like the first thing that practically I could do is to consciously every moment remind myself that I am not the body that I am in. So maybe reminding myself that I am a soul, and that will probably help me to connect better to Krishna, and then go forward on the steps that would take me forward. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing your thoughts and realization. Anybody else with questions or comments or their realization?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu and Matajis. I really like the lecture today. It was giving a different perspective on the life and how we can progress in our devotion life, and the very question you asked, what we can do in our day-to-day activities to increase that service towards Krishna and become more Krishna conscious. For me personally, I honestly I feel I'm a little bit lazy. Like I want to do more, but the timings or uh, the way the material life is going for me, the timing is little difficult to manage. But like I would like to change in my daily activities is to do a regular Mangal Aarti, um, which I am not able to do right now. But yeah, so that's what I would like to change in my daily routine. Um, yes, and of course, have more motivation to increase my chanting from 16 to a little bit higher number. These two things I would definitely like to change from.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. That's a very elevated way of getting into bhakti. Another, I think, couple of lectures back, I was mentioning that, we all have bath in the morning, right? So somebody, if you ask them, why are you having a bath? They'll say, oh, because it's the start of the day. I have to go to office, whatever, right? But to a devotee who's getting up for Mangal Aarti, he's having the bath because he wants to be pure when he gets in front of the Lord. So now you have spiritualized the act of bathing itself, and that is what is required. So the outwardly the life doesn't change, the actions don't change. It is the spiritualization of that action that is happening when we get into bhakti. So very, very, very nice thought, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Mataji, maybe it is me.
Mataji, your voice is breaking, Mataji. We can't hear you.
Okay, I'm outside, Prabhuji.
Oh,
with my kids today.
Mataji, you are coming out very clearly.
Yeah,
Now we can hear, Mataji.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, because I'm outside, my kids are sleeping, and I came downstairs to the fitness center to attend the class also. So, and very, very happy, Prabhuji, to make the class today. Actually, I thought I could come or not. So I have to make myself available for the classes. The first thing, whatever happens, wherever I am, I have to make room for that time so that I can uh, listen the regular morning classes mainly that can help me go through the day. And maybe I can share my problems because I feel that I am the person who is in charge of the family. I have to help the kids. I have to help my parents. I have to help my husband like that. So I take like, how can I help them? How can I help them a little bit more to make them more funny? Like what to do for my kids and what to do for my parents in India, like that. So I have that selfish thought maybe. So I have to take care of the family.
Haribol, Hare Krishna Mataji, are you there?
Yeah, correct. It's very, very feeble here because it's not so. So I just want to wrap up because I want to give up that thought that I have to do for everything for the family and I have to do only for Krishna and Governance and Krishna take care of the family. It's not me, it's not on my head to take care of the family. Uh, that's what I'm trying to help them and give my own devotional services. So I am trying to make up in that way. So
Hare Krishna.
very helpful. Yeah.
Mataji, this is not my words, and I'm not saying this. First of all, I I understand your realization. I appreciate your realization. So, just to add to this, based on what I have heard from others, is even we all are in this life. We all have families around us. We all have lots of obligations around us in the type of life we are in, type of life situation we are in. So from that perspective, you know, taking care of the family, if it is seen as an obligation, then it will remain an obligation and perhaps a distraction from Krishna consciousness. But think of it this way, that if somebody gives you a kilo of gold or a very valuable diamond, then you have that fiduciary duty to take care of the diamond or that 1 kilo of gold in the best way possible to keep safe keep that thing the best way you can, right? So similarly, the family that is there around us is given by him. It is his possession that he is given to us for our safekeep, and therefore we should do everything that is possible for us to serve them as a member of that family. That is one way to spiritualize our obligations. So that's what elevated devotees say, that you don't have to change anything. You just have to change the thinking. I was discussing this with my brother, and he says this. Yeah, we are accountants by profession. So accountants, what do? They do journal entries, accounting, bookkeeping, whatever. So he says every invoice that he checks, every journal entry that he passes, he he thinks of that as a flower offered to Krishna. Now that is a simple way to remain Krishna conscious. So just wanted to add that it is just the small act of yat karoshi yadashnasi, yat karoshi, whatever you do, offer it to Krishna. And at the end of the day, it is truly Krishna, because Krishna is in the hearts of the members of our family, our friends, and everybody around us. Krishna is in everything. So that way, nothing should remain as an obligation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for creation. Yeah, that's what I think because it's I'm responsible. That's what I think. Thank you. my internet is not good today. So.
Yes, Mataji, I get it that you are basically saying what I completed or ended with, because for other devotees, I wanted them to get that how we could be part of the family life and yet be in Krishna consciousness, doing everything. Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful class. Prabhuji, I had a question from Srila Prabhupada's purport. So can I ask Prabhuji?
Sure, Mataji, go ahead. If it is
Yes,
possible for
Prabhuji.
me, I'll answer, but other devotees feel free to chime in. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, in the last paragraph of Srila Prabhupada's purport, he says that one should fix his mind on this original form of Krishna, and one should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. And the Lord has multi-forms as Vishnu, Narayan, Ram, Varaha, but a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. So, Prabhuji, I do not understand these lines because we also see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Anupam, he was attached to saying like Lord Ram's name. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they said that yes, he can chant Lord Ram's name. So Prabhuji, I did not understand these lines. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, if you could explain them. Hare Krishna.
I'll try to explain to my ability, Mataji. The way I understand it is, and I may be wrong, so I would love to hear from other devotees as well. The way I understand it is, until there is progression, right? So the soul that has realized that it is a soul then engages in the service of the Lord, and as it engages in the service of the Lord through that parabhakti, they start to realize their swarupa. So swarup is what our constitutional position was in when engaging with Krishna. And in that swarup, they will also start to realize which avatar of Krishna or Krishna himself are they serving. Once you are at that level, then I think this kind of, what Prabhupada is saying is not necessarily going to apply to those situations, because this is more for, as I started the class by saying, it is for those who are not at Manmana stage. So those who are not at Manmana stage, how to become Manmana. And that's where Prabhupada therefore is also writing in the purports that for those devotees, concentrate. If you have nothing, then instead of taking 3 trains to your destination, just take one train that takes you to the ultimate destination. So he's saying, just take that one train, because that one train, even if your destination is at the end of the day to, lovingly serve Lord Ram, Krishna will inspire. Krishna said he even gives the firm faith to serve demigods. So he will give us the firm faith to, serve any other form of Krishna. So what Prabhupada is saying is just go to the very original source. That is what he is saying. And Krishna, even you have to understand that accept Bhagavad Gita as it is, as it was given to Arjun Maharaj. And it was given to Arjun Maharaj in Krishna's two-handed form. So for an uninitiated devotee who's at, what was the state Arjun Maharaj was in? Arjun Maharaj was in a bodily state of mind. When he sees those armies, he starts to think like a body and thinks of them as his relatives. He thinks of them as somebody who's living and who will be killed. At the body level, at the spiritual level, there is no such thing. So we all are at that level. We all, when we are at bodily level, are thinking like Krishna. And
Arjuna.
as Arjuna, and who's advising? It is the two-handed form of Krishna who's standing in front of Arjuna. Similarly, we should also take Bhagavad Gita as it is, and therefore, focus on Krishna. He has said that he is, he is the origin of everything. So For the uninitiated devotee who is in the bodily state of consciousness, for them, the best way to engage is to go to the supreme most power to help them. And that is what Prabhupada is saying. Understanding Bhagavad Gita as it is, as it was understood by Arjun Maharaj. So that is how I understand it. But there will be a state where you realize your Sarupa, you realize your, the spiritual duty under that Swarupa, and at that time you may have, affinity towards different forms of the Lord, and that is okay. We know that Hanumanji serves Ram. We know that Prahlad Maharaj serves Narasimhadev. So it's not like it's not allowed, but for those who have not yet developed that level of consciousness and service, for those who are starting, the best way to start is to think of Krishna's 200 forms. Krishna's given that, he demonstrated in chapter 11. He shows the universal form, then his Vishnu form, and then he goes back to Krishna form. In Bhagvatam also it is demonstrated. Even Mahavishnu, at the end of 10th canto, wants to see Krishna, and therefore he performs a leela to have Arjun Maharaj and Krishna go and see Mahavishnu. So, but the way I would summarize it is, Mataji, is for uninitiated devotees, it is better to engage directly with the Supreme Most, the source of everything, which is the 200 form of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
You can go, Mataji, text number, chapter 11, text 51. See, Arjun Maharaj says, Jasvedam manusam rupam tava somyam janardana. Idanim asmi samrita sacheta vraktim gataha. When Arjun Maharaj saw the Krishna's original form, he said, O Janardan, sing this human-like form. So very beautiful. I am now composed in mind and I am restored my original nature. That probably answer your question, Mataji, hopefully. Prabhu has explained very well, but this can help you too. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vikas Prabhuji. Thank you, Halate Prabhuji, for answering my question. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Any other devotee who has any question, comments, or want to share their realization? Otherwise, it is 8:38. But don't feel that because it is 8:38, we don't have time for you. I'm just saying, if you have to share something, please go ahead.
Yeah, you, Hare Krishna Prabhu, may I?
Sure, Prabhu.
Beautiful way you have served like a 56 dishes at the same time. You just put the whole Bhagavad Gita in front of everybody so beautifully. But I think as long as person don't replace Arjun Maharaj from Bhagavad Gita and put himself there, this realizations will not come. It's a 2.7, it says Karpanya dosho prata subhava. Prachami tvam dharma sammuda cheta. Yache yasha nishchitam bruhi tam tanme sishyasteham sarimam tam prapannam. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost my composers because of my miserly weakness. In these conditions, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is the best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. So, to my understanding, as long as we don't replace Arjun Maharaj and put ourselves there and follow that and listen that the love he has explained throughout the Bhagavad Gita, being a guru, and often he says, you're my best friend with my love. I just want to show you the path of the devotions. If we don't practice that, then the last words, Man Manavo Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, will not come to us, That is a very simple way. Many different way Lord has explained us with the lots of love. And if we see only the character, and if we see only by the like a story of Bhagavad Gita, and not listening it, what is the Lord's message for us, then this thing become useless. Simply, we just go to temple, listen all the scholars, the speech, the wording we remember, and then becomes nothing, useless. So this is what I believe. We have to try and totally, absorbed in it word by word. It is not that easy as we listen in 1 hour. No, it takes long, long time. And then we can understand what Lord is saying here. Manmanava matbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame vaishasi satyam te prati jane priyoshime. So, in a short, this is my statement, my understanding of the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, for this word especially, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, you've gone straight to the point. Prabhupada has mentioned in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. He says you must understand Bhagavad Gita the way Arjun Maharaj understood Bhagavad Gita. And that is why he actually wrote this Bhagavad Gita, because he says the rest of the Bhagavad Gitas are not in the mood and in the parampara system of how Arjun Maharaj received Bhagavad Gita from Krishna. So you are right. We have to be in the mood of Arjun Maharaj when we are reading Bhagavad Gita, to be a devotee, to be a friend who is submissive and who is inquiring honestly from the Lord. So what the Lord also says in chapter 4, verse 34. So, it is so true, Prabhuji. What I was saying when I had mentioned this in my comments is that, it shouldn't remain as a conversation between Arjun Maharaj and uh, Krishna, Sri Krishna. It should actually be seen as, okay, so what does that mean? How do I absorb and internalize that? Because in some ways, when Krishna says in 1861 that he is in our heart and we are on an instrument, and he is driving that instrument in chapter 3, verse 27, he says he drives that instrument. So, in a very similar way to Arjun Maharaj, basically what this means is Krishna is also our Sarthi in our heart, and he is driving us and he is directing us. We need to uh, therefore turn to him and understand Bhagavad Gita as such. So it is obligatory on us also to do the same thing. We are in the same situation as Arjun Maharaj, perhaps worse, not same. We are in a worse situation because Arjun Maharaj, once he understood, he came out of it. At least he performed the Leela that he was sort of bewildered and he comes out of it. On a daily basis, we get bewildered, we come out of that bewilderment, and we again become bewildered. So my only point there was not that we not think of Arjun Maharaj, but to think of how we can internalize it and not just simply let it remain as a conversation between Arjun Maharaj and Krishna. Hare Krishna. But thank you, Prabhu. That was the essence of what Prabhupada says is how to receive Bhagavad Gita, to receive it the way Arjun Maharaj received it.
Very good. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It is
Krishna,
8:44.
thank you so much for this nectarine class and explaining this verse so nicely. As Prabhuji, Radha Prabhu said, the essence of Bhagavad Gita, you explained so nicely today. And yeah, I would. I'm trying to follow the consciousness, but it's very hard me to wake up early. Like I wake up 5:30, but my Prabhuji wake up 3:30. So I want to follow his steps, but it's very hardly get sleeping late is the problem, but sleeping early and getting earlier is a key. But no matter what time he sleep, but he wake up early 3:30 and chant his round. So that I want to uh, mm, improve in my life. And the consciousness you said that like whatever we do for Krishna. So like cooking, what Krishna will like to eat today, thinking this process. And um, I get lazy to for walk because I have knee problem. Doctor told me to walk more, but sometimes I get lazy. But then I tell my mind that you have to do DT worship, you have to do so many services from Krishna for a long time. So get up and go for walk. So these things I want to improve in my life, Prabhuji. So yeah, thank you so much for explaining so nicely and everyone question answer session. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Sharing your experience with your brother also. That is also inspiring, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam to everybody. Will if anybody else is there who wants to provide their realizations, please do so now. Otherwise, we'll close this call with our prayers to the Vaishnavas. Anybody? Okay. Hare Krishna. So we'll close our discussions on Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse 65 with our prayers to the Vaishnavas. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu patitanam pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय,
Jai.
नाम संकीर्तन की जय,
Jai.
ब्रह्मचारी हरिदास ठाकुर की जय।
जय।
हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा।
Thank you, Prabhuji.
विकास प्रभु जी की
Hare
जय।
Krishna.
हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
हरि बोल।
Hare
Hare
Bol.
Hare